Let's move away from that and look at another issue. Now, for more than 3 decades, the Ogoni question has remained one of the defining stories of the Niger Delta, shaped by environmental degradation, demands for resource justice, the execution of the Ogoni 9, and years of strained relations between the Ogoni people and the federal government. Today, however, there appears to be a renewed attempt to resolve those long-standing issues through dialogue rather than confrontation. The movement for the survival of the Ogoni people, MOSOP, says ongoing engagements initiated by the federal government have opened a new chapter in the search for lasting peace, environmental remediation, political inclusion, and sustainable development in Ogoni land. The group believes the dialogue process, which began following President Bola Tinubu's directive for broad-based consultations, represents the first truly Ogoni-led conversation with the federal government in decades, raising hopes that years of unresolved grievances may finally be addressed through consensus. To help us understand what this process means for the Ogoni people, the wider Niger Delta, and indeed Nigeria, we're joined by the president of the Movement for the Survival of the Ogoni People, MOSOP, Mr. Fegalo Nsuke, who joins us virtually this afternoon. Thank you very much for making our time to speak to us.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Fegalo.
Let's give us some insights regarding this new commitment or this reaction by MOSOP regarding the meetings and the consultations with the federal government that perhaps may be showing that indeed there is a new lease regarding the Ogoni people and the issues that it has been calling for redress from the federal government. Where is MOSOP now in the struggle for the Ogoni people? Mr. Fegalo, unfortunately, we cannot hear you. I don't know if you can revisit your audio and perhaps unmute yourself so we can hear you clearly in the studio this afternoon.
Every second, a story breaks.
President Bola Tinubu has formally presented the 2026 appropriation bill to the National Assembly.
The nation reacts. The world shifts. History moves in real time. Before the noise, before the opinions. One screen keeps you connected. From the headlines shaking the nation to the stories everyone talks about tomorrow. Stream anytime, anywhere. When the story matters, you know where to turn. ADBN. A part of you.
The global business is never static. Watch the market report on ADBN TV for business information, latest happening business deals, government economic policies, stock, crude oil and commodity trading, financial upstick and downstick, and the world of organized private sector. The market report showing on ADBN TV 1 to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday. The market report bringing you up to speed in the business world.
Every day, decisions are made, policies are announced, challenges emerge, and lives are changed. But beyond the headlines, beyond the politics, beyond the noise, are the conversations that matter. On Softline, Nigeria's leading voices unpack the issues shaping our future, from governance to business, education, healthcare, technology, security, and the economy. Real conversations, expert insights, solutions that move the nation forward. Because understanding today's decisions shapes tomorrow's opportunities. Now airing 4 p.m. every weekday and Saturdays. Softline, where informed decisions begin.
Thanks for saying, Junta, and apologies for that break. But then we are about having a conversation with Mr. Fegalo Nsuke, who is the president of the Movement for the Survival of the Ogoni People, MOSOP, on the renewed commitment towards dialogue for the Ogoni people and addressing the pressing issues that has always been at the front burner for Ogoni over decades now. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for joining us, Mr. Fegalo.
Thank you.
Let's look at this renewed commitment towards dialogue with the federal government and what MOSOP considers commitment by the federal government towards ensuring that the issues that the Ogoni people have been clamoring for decades now are addressed. Is it really indeed in the interest of the Ogoni people that these issues are going to be addressed by the federal government?
Yes, as we all know, we've been in this for close to 36 years. And it's been a long struggle, a costly struggle. And the beautiful thing about what is happening now regarding the dialogue is that the federal government has come to Ogoni people to say, what do you want? Can we talk and resolve these issues? And I think that is the beautiful moment Ogoni had always expected. Those are the things, this same thing is what Mr. Ken Saruwa asked for, dialogue. It's the same thing that Mr. Lady Mita, who succeeded Ken Saruwa, asked for, dialogue. And it's the same thing that we have always asked for, there's dialogue. And the government has come to say, can we talk? I think it's a beautiful thing, it's a beautiful moment, and MOSOP accepted that offer to talk. And so, of course, in respect of interest, this is not a conflict of just Ogoni people. There are three parties to this conflict. The Nigerian government, which is the NNPC, the oil company that invested in the process, and then the Ogoni people. So everyone has, or we all have our interests. And the dialogue is supposed to be looking at all of these interests. And then, of course, we are all going to make compromises. That's the reality. In a dialogue of this kind, we expect compromises. And at the end of the day, what is most important is that we do reach an agreement and move forward. As a matter of fact, for us, the Ogoni people, it's not as if we enjoy being in the fight. We've fought because we felt that things, you know, our land was producing so much, and then this output, this revenue that was being generated wasn't reflecting, you know, in the lives of the Ogoni people. The environment was being destroyed and all of that. And that was actually what engineered the protest. And at this time we are talking. So we are taking all of this into consideration. And it's a good thing that the government is also listening. Like I said during the rally of Saturday last week, I said, this is an Ogoni-driven dialogue. It's true. Because the government came to us to say, let's talk. Now, we presented to the government what we want, dealing with all issues politically, economically, environmentally. We presented all of what we want to the government. And then the government will now have to respond to that. So the entire dialogue is being driven by the demands we have made, the presentations we have made to government. And that is why I tell Ogoni people, this dialogue is good for us. As a matter of fact, we can't continue fighting when the other parties are offering a hand of friendship. We are three parties to this conflict. The other parties are saying, can we talk? It's reasonable. I think the most reasonable thing to do at this time is to talk.
So, Mr. Fegalo, how has the talk been so far? Where are we at the dialogues? Mr. Fegalo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you right now.
Yeah, I was asking where we are at the dialogue, concerning the dialogue.
Yes.
Where are we now? What stage?
Yes, we have made that presentation to the government, and the government has studied it. Where we are now is for the Ogoni people and the government to sit down, look at what compromises can be made, and so we can reach an agreement to move forward. But as a matter of fact, I will tell you that so far, it's been good, it's been beautiful. We have been satisfied with the process. We haven't seen anything that could make us think the government is not serious. From what we've seen so far, the government is serious about the dialogue. And I think that the government is committed to this process based on what I have seen so far. The government is committed to this dialogue process, and I think we are about to see a beautiful end to the conflict between government, the Nigerian oil industry, and the Ogoni people. We are likely, in fact, I am very optimistic that a new beginning, a new relationship is going to come out of this very soon.
All right, Mr. Fegalo, what's your assessment of the committee set up, the Ogoni Dialogue Committee set up to handle this dialogue?
Absolutely. The Dialogue Committee did a good job. You see, what the Dialogue Committee did first is to collate positions from all Ogoni communities. All Ogoni communities, I mean. We have about 216 Ogoni communities, and all of them submitted position papers to the Dialogue Committee. The Dialogue Committee set up a committee to collate all of these positions. That is what was presented to the government as the Ogoni position. And these things were done, you know, considering the demands of the Ogoni people during the struggle, right from when we had Ken Salova here, which, of course, the focus had been, the demand had been contained in the document we call the Ogoni Bill of Rights. So all of what the Dialogue Committee did was to see, look at what the people were saying and relate it to what had always been the demand of Ogoni. And they came up with something that is actionable. You see, because the Ogoni Bill of Rights is like an ideal document, but you need to also fine-tune whatever to make it actionable. So we have presented our demands to government. In all honesty, the Dialogue Committee did an excellent job. You know, MOSOP initially had demanded for the operationalization of an Ogoni Development Authority. But what the Dialogue Committee did is to consider the position, that document, consider the Ogoni Bill of Rights, and even expanded it to make it better. And by the end of the day, the report that the Dialogue Committee came out became even better than the initial document we did for the operationalization of the ODA. So we embraced the document, we endorsed it because it was fine. Of course, what we are looking at is what's good for Ogoni. That's the ultimate goal. So we looked at what the Dialogue Committee did and saw that it's even better than what we did. So we adopted that. So I can tell you that we are fine with the work of the Dialogue Committee. And I'll say it again, we do hope. Of course, we are not expecting the government to do everything that we've demanded, but we are very hopeful. I am particularly very hopeful because I have a lot of information about what's going on. I'm very hopeful that Ogoni is about to turn a new leaf.
All right. Well, Mr. Fegalo, as we begin to wind down this session now, I'd like you to be specific regarding some of the desires of the Ogoni people as contained in these collations that you've done across communities there. And also give us some understanding regarding the feeling of the Ogoni people as regards the conversation around the resumption of oil exploration. Is that also a conversation that is on the table and very much being visited as a result of these consultations?
Yes, of course, you know the Ogoni people trust MOSOP. And when you want to look at what they ask for, it's a huge document. But let me summarize it. Basically, it's all about getting oil extraction to commence and encouraging government to make concessions for Ogoni development. So we have the oil extracted, and then we expect the government and the oil industry to make appropriate concessions so that we can see Ogoni people, I mean, the wealth that has been taken out of Ogoni reflecting in the lives of the Ogoni people. And I estimated $50 million $60 million worth of revenue is expected to be generated from Ogoni when this thing fully commences. So what we are saying is that you cannot take that much, and the people, all the people are left with is the consequences of natural resource extraction. We are not seeing the benefits. So basically, the dialogue is talking about how we can also see these benefits reach the Ogoni people. That's what, I mean, basically the summary of the Dialogue Committee report.
All right, Mr. Fegalo, will these demands be met before the resumption of oil exploration in Ogoni land?
With the relationship so far, it doesn't necessarily have to be made before production commences. Of course, we are talking about money entering Ogoni. The money has to be tied to the production because it comes from the oil. But I can say that at this moment, the government is trying to do some basic infrastructural, improvement in what we have. The East-West Road, the Ogoni axis of the East-West Road has been abandoned for a very long time. As we speak, is being reconstructed and expanded and strengthened, very well. Very good work going on there. The Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway is now being extended to also pass through Ogoni. We've seen a hospital, one of our hospitals being upgraded to a specialist hospital. We've seen the university being approved for Ogoni. So basically, these are the things that we call some confidence building measures. Government has just done this to say, look, we are serious about what we are talking about. And so we have the confidence to also go into the dialogue because we are seeing a good commitment from the side of government. So we do not expect that all of what we are talking about will be fulfilled before, because as a matter of fact, we also need the oil. We also need revenue from the oil. That's the fact. Because when we're talking about money entering Ogoni, the money we are talking about is the wealth that is in the Ogoni soil. So we need it. So we're not going to be waiting until all of the things we demand are being fulfilled before oil extraction commences. But we want the government to show confidence, and that's why we're involved in the dialogue. So we want to ensure that this is not just talk.
All right.
That the government is serious about it, and we are going to do it.
All right, Nsuke. Well, let's wind down the conversation now with your parting shot. If you were to rate the trust level that the Ogoni people perhaps have on the government now, where would you place it? Considering the fact that over the years, there's always been this trust deficit when it comes to issues of this nature. The Ogoni people are indeed MOSOP confident that this is a new era. When you juxtapose that with the antecedents of the Tinubu-led administration and commitment that it has shown thus far towards remediation and meeting the desires of the Ogoni people?
Well, let me put it this way. Everyone involved in this dialogue have interests. The government is interested in the oil. The oil industry is interested in the oil. But for the Ogoni people, we are interested in development. And so, for the Ogoni people, this issue of development is something we are not going to compromise. We are going into this dialogue to win development for Ogoni. At the moment, there's nothing that will make me say, or there's nothing suggesting that the government is not committed to that process. So, I have confidence that at this moment, we are fine, and we are moving on with the dialogue very well, and I think the outcome will be good for every party, including Ogoni.
All right. Well, I must thank you very much, President of the Movement for the Survival of the Ogoni People, MOSOP, Mr. Fegalo Nsuke, for speaking to us on the program this afternoon.
Thank you for your time, Ms. Fegalo.